Welcome, Vianna, to the Box of Random podcast, where every hour is amateur hour. Today, again, we've got the same crew as yesterday. Brogan hasn't been here, but we are still talking about Zelda, and she will non-stop talk about Lord of the Rings. That's the only episode she's interested in, is the Lord of the Rings episode.
And once we finish we've told her that we'll do her Lord of the Rings episode as soon as we finish with our Legend of Zelda stuff.
Which should end this episode.
Well, we're getting to my Ganondorf point, so...
Yeah, I mean, including all the parts of the episode.
Yeah. We may have an entire part just for the Ganondorf point, but...
Yeah. So this is the one Tanner's been waiting for so long. He's been slightly frustrated with me for not doing it yesterday, etc.
Except the universe hasn't existed that long.
I know. Yeah.
The universe doesn't exist in those times, Paris.
Earlier, when we uploaded the announcement on SoundCloud that we're not going to be able to do it on there for a while, I was feeling terrible. There was no way I could sit up here and talk.
To those of you who are from SoundCloud and just hopped onto YouTube for this episode, welcome!
Woo!
Yay!
We apologize that we have to bring you over here for this.
Yeah, I think it stinks because I listen to it on SoundCloud whenever I listen to it. That's a lot easier because I listen on my phone, and you can't have YouTube minimized, so it's draining battery.
Unless you have YouTube Red.
Heating it up. And
if you have YouTube Red, congrats. This is just as easy as SoundCloud for you. If you don't have YouTube Red, then we apologize. As soon as we have the money to give those $15 monthly payments, then we will be uploading more to SoundCloud. Everything we missed.
Isn't it $60 for the unlimited?
No.
Not a month.
It's $15 a month.
Which is silly.
Yeah.
That's gonna be difficult.
That's a World of Warcraft subscription right there.
Yeah.
Okay. The ridiculous thing about that is 1 terabyte. 1 terabyte. That is 1,024 gigabytes. 1 terabyte of cloud storage on Google Drive, $10 a month. That is so much cheaper. Not like per month. It's only $5 cheaper per month, but that's $60 cheaper every year to have a terabyte of cloud storage on Google Drive versus having unlimited upload space on SoundCloud or having a World of Warcraft subscription.
It's just having other people having access to it is SoundCloud.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We're going to talk about Tanner's favorite point of all the points.
Because it would be so cool.
Yeah. And remember, these
like
are...
pencils.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
What?
so we're...
Just randomly, I like pencils.
You said it was his favorite point, and pencils are not my favorite point because I like pens.
Oh my gosh. Why?
That was a really bad pun, and I should slap you for that.
I will later.
So,
remember, this is kind of half a theory, kind of a wouldn't it be cool if.
Yeah, this one was just me rambling, and this was at the very beginning of the development of all these theories, and it was just me rambling about how this didn't make sense and this didn't make sense, so wouldn't it be cool if. But that was before we had really started playing we had played it before, but it was before we had started analyzing them to the degree where we could make all these theories. So
yeah, the idea, the bullet, is Ganondorf is a hero. And remember, Ganondorf, not Ganon. Ganon is the giant pig monster. Ganondorf is the Gerudo King. And
who they call the evil king in Ocarina of Time, but I strongly disagree with that, hence this point.
That's from the point of Hyrule.
Yeah.
From the perspective of Hyrule, where he's invading. Okay, so
Well, he doesn't even really invade. Zelda's just like, that man is evil. And
Well-
he does take over, but he has no army that he invades with.
And the thing is, everyone in Hyrule is scared of the Grudos. Like, if you wear the Grudo mask in Ocarina of Time and talk to people, they're like, ah! Why would you do that?
Yeah. It's that cursed race that is only females.
well, cursed by Twinrova.
Yeah.
So the idea
As was explained in earlier points.
that I've been trying to get to, and for some reason Tanner keeps interrupting, and it's like, weren't you the one who wanted to talk about this?
Well, because I'm excited and I just keep talking.
The idea is that Ganondorf was born as a host for Ganon, who is the master of Twinrova, and he was prepared for that his whole life. But, do you have a better way of saying this? I keep trying to.
So how I started putting this all together was I wanted Breath of the Wild to be pre-hero Hyrule. I wanted it to be Hyrule before it needed a hero. So,
Which is like 5 seconds into creation.
yeah, no kidding. But, so it was Ganondorf at this point was just a person. There was no Demon King Ganon, there was no Demise, there was no nothing. It was just Ganondorf. And so when he went out and he had adventured. He wasn't a hero, but at that point he wasn't a hero. He was just like an adventurer person. And so he went out and he was going all over Hyrule being like, yay. And so he... just a second.
Phlegm.
The volume levels are green.
Okay.
So he became very powerful, and so he gained the Triforce of power, not courage. He gained the Triforce of power, and because of that, Demise was like, or no. Sorry, I'm messing up my own point. Okay, so. And then Demise came actually before Skyward Sword, is how the theory goes. I have no idea.
Well, suppose it... from my understanding, Demise was a being, entity, thing before Skyward Sword, but that's when he was fighting to destroy Skyloft, or whatever his plan was.
I'm not entirely sure about that.
Wherever... for some reason.
Right.
I don't understand Skyward Sword's story. I need to learn it because it doesn't make sense to me.
But so Demise came and he was like, this guy is cool, so I'm going to take his body because he's super strong. So Din was like, we don't want this guy having this kid's body because then we'll all die.
Or they'll all die.
They'll all die, yeah. And so she was like, Triforce of Powered! And so just to give him the strength to fully resist Demise to a, well, sort
Not
of.
fully.
Not
but
fully.
maintain some control.
So this is, in the last episode we were talking about how I had a theory on where the wasteland of Hyrule came from before the goddesses structured it. And so this is that theory, is that Ganondorf and Demise fighting over the body was such an intense battle that just struggling as one person, it destroyed basically everything. Just them fighting over it.
Well, does Demise have that kind of power? Because I think supposedly he was supposed to be super powerful, But again, you just shield and hit.
Yeah.
I'm told he was a very disappointing boss fight.
Yeah.
So,
Like, lore-wise, yes, he is that powerful. Gameplay-wise, he's kind of crappy.
okay, there's that thing again where people ignore the gameplay when it's convenient.
Yeah.
It's like they have these little things like, oh my gosh, this gameplay mechanic, but then they ignore lore, they ignore other gameplay mechanics, and it's just irritating.
But... And, I mean, the reason for that could be he was, like, in this 1,000-year slumber or whatever, sealed away, and so he was just a little rusty. That might be it. Like, that's a total excuse.
Just nonsensical thing.
But, I mean, that might be a reason, well, not even a reason, an excuse. Let's just call it what it is, an excuse for why he was such a crappy boss.
Like how Ganon's mind was not revived.
Yeah. So, that was a lot shorter than I expected it to be.
Well, you didn't bring up half the things I was expecting you to.
I know, I just can't remember them.
There was one part where when Ganondorf is gathering the dark energy nonsense.
Oh, yeah! Okay, so in Ocarina of Time... Thank you, Paris. Sorry for cutting you off, but...
Go for it.
Well, you do it all the time.
But, so in Ocarina of Time, there's...
Very near the beginning, right before you get the blue one.
The Master Sword. Yeah, the Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. And then...
I thought you were talking about the blue spiritual stone, so I was like, Paris, that's after, not before.
And so, you... And he's looking at Link, and he gathers the dark energy in his hand, and at the very last moment, it turns white, and Link is only knocked back instead of obliterated. And so the idea is whatever power Ganon thingamajig was gathering to shoot him with, Ganondorf changed it last second so it was non-lethal.
Because I don't care how much you condense darkness or shadow or whatever, however much you concentrate it, it will stay darkness. It doesn't just magically become light. Well, I guess magically it does, but... magically it does, but normally, no, it does not. Like, even through magic, unless it's changed very drastically.
Just the fact that it didn't kill him is one of the big parts.
Yeah.
There's no reason with the character we're given for Ganondorf that he wouldn't have just killed Link right there.
And then also, Ganondorf plans, he plots. He would not lose unless he meant to.
Yeah, with all the weaknesses in all the bosses, specific weaknesses, and the temples that are puzzles instead of dungeons with walls and keys. They have keys hidden in chests and eyeball switches. So it could be just preparation to stop whatever being we're saying is inside Ganondorf, which is most likely Ganon, since Twinrova serves Ganon.
Yeah.
And I still believe Twinrova tied it to him as a kid, which is the reason they cursed the Gerudo. And stuff we've been over.
So and then there's another part that's similar to this, where Ganondorf maintains control for an instant to hinder Ganon. It's in Twilight Princess. They don't actually show it, so we have no real evidence other than his scar is still there. So the sage stabs him with a sword, and there's this giant scar that just stays there for years and years, even after his body dissipates.
It's a hole, which is even.
I know, but even after his body is destroyed in the Twilight Realm and he recreates it, he still has that.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically, it's Ganondorf, and he keeps the sword, so every once in a while he can pull it out, stab himself with it, and be like, "Suck it, Ganon!"
That would be pretty cool.
But, so, and then there's some stuff afterwards I want to say. Oh, right! One more. So, according to the official timeline, Paris isn't gonna like me calling it this, but the Fallen Hero timeline.
The kingdom falls.
Paris's decision is that because Ocarina of Time, the Hero of Time, is one of the coolest heroes, that it's really stupid that he's the only one that can canonically die. So
I think his mom was just better at escaping.
It's just that he lived out a normal childhood
The
and
hero
he never
did not
rise.
rise.
But-
Instead of the hero falls.
But so canonically, according to the official
Zelda
timeline where it's the hero falls, so what happens is Ganondorf kills Link, takes the Master Sword, and puts it back into the pedestal in the Lost Woods. Well, he makes the pedestal for it in the Lost Woods. And
Which doesn't make any sense.
especially since he's supposedly evil, why can he pick up the Master Sword?
And why would he not throw it in a very, very deep pit? One of the many bottomless holes in Hyrule.
Like,
Or just lava.
Yeah, lava would work.
yeah.
We've,
I mean, he's got a castle surrounded by lava.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a thing. That's not.
But
Thing.
supposedly there's this big war that happens between, it's the Sealing War, where Ganondorf is sealed by the armies of Hyrule instead. But looking at this objectively, Ganondorf would be able to take out armies.
Also,
Like, I'm not even trying to be like he's that awesome or anything. I'm just looking at this objectively, where he has the power to change pure darkness into light in an instant, and he has the power to control almost every evil creature. And
also,
it
What
just doesn't make
armies?
sense that he would ever be defeated.
That's true. Avery just said, also, what armies? What,
Yeah!
What army does Hyrule have?
they have the Hyrule Castle Guard, and that is the
That's
only
it.
military force you ever see in any Legend of Zelda game.
And they're awful.
They are. They're
They're
absolutely
terrible.
terrible. Not to mention, Ganondorf has Dark Nuts, which can take out like 10-ish people normally, 10-ish
By
normal people
themselves.
by themselves. He has tons of those guys.
and
He can-
dragons, and dark links, and giant eyeball monsters.
There is no logical reason as to why he would have gotten defeated
How
by
he'd lose to
anyone except for
especially
Link.
Hyrule.
Well,
Hyrule, their armed forces just suck.
Yeah.
and then a lot of people say, the sages united to steal him together. But the problem with that is, most of the sages didn't know they were sages.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
They were only became sages because Ganondorf and then Link found them.
And also, they were only able to seal him once he became Ganon. As Ganondorf, they were powerless against him. They couldn't do crap. Like, I'm serious. They couldn't do anything to him as Ganondorf because he planned everything.
He planned circles around him.
He
They
did.
couldn't do anything.
So, according to Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time, the only reason he lost, and this is not even him being arrogant, this is him knowing this is his foresight, this is his knowing what would have happened, but having it foiled. The only reason he lost was because of Link.
Yeah,
like he saw him.
100%.
He saw him as a kid, and he was like, "Oh, this kid has the 3 spiritual stones." And the Princess Zelda just threw the ocarina right by me. Like, there's no way he wouldn't have seen that, especially with the magical power
and the splash.
And the splash. There's no way he wouldn't have noticed it. And so he says, this kid has all 3 spiritual stones, and likely he'll go and get the ocarina as soon as I leave. So he will unlock everything I need. But the thing is that Ganondorf, if he really were the evil person that they say he is, he could have just killed Link and taken the stones, jumped in the water, grabbed the ocarina, and went into the Temple of Time himself.
Or just
He couldn't have pulled out the Master Sword, but
he didn't need to.
He didn't need to. He wanted the Triforce, which was in the Sacred Realm. The Master Sword was supposedly the final key, but all he had to do was get it out of the pedestal. It can't be in the pedestal if the pedestal is gone.
Yeah,
so
just break the rocks and throw it outside of the...
It just doesn't make sense that he would not...
lose to Hyrule.
I think there was a story where the sword and there was a story where the sword and the stone, the guy who finally managed to earn the right to wield it, or whatever you want to say, he didn't, like, pull it out, like, and because he was the chosen king of England or whatever, he just broke the rock. He punched the rock and then got the sword out.
Oh gosh, that's pretty funny. But so, and then that brings back to the point that Ganondorf is planning all of this. The only thing he didn't see was Link becoming the person he became.
Unless he did.
Yeah, unless he did, and he really is a hero, planning for him, training him. And he's like, okay, I need this kid to be strong enough to beat me when he finally gets to me, and he has all the sages with him. I can't let Ganon take full control, so I have to... But I can't take full control either. We're at a constant war, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to place these monsters for him to beat one at a time, get stronger and stronger, so that when he comes to fight me, he can beat me. So he's planning everything.
Which is neat.
He is very much the Triforce of power, and people don't think about this, but power isn't just pure strength. Power is many, many, many different things. Like, so knowledge is power. Everybody's heard that. So he is very, very smart. He plans, he schemes, he does all that stuff that knowledge would give you. He has incredible magic power. Power!
Notice how that's what the magic gauge is called? It's magic power.
Yeah, he has immense power, but people equate that to...
just the brute strength.
He has that too, but he has every aspect of power.
Link has the brute strength too.
Yeah.
Especially once he gets the gauntlets.
So I heard a guy on YouTube, one of the Zelda theorists, he was saying, he was going through all the Triforces and saying what each one gives you. And so he was saying, he was trying to explain what the Triforce of Courage did, because everybody was like, oh, it doesn't really do anything. Oh, it's just for show. It was like, first off, no, it's not. But he was going through and he said that the Triforce of Power gave you extreme defense, resilience, that kind of stuff.
Where did you get
that? Twilight Princess, where he's able to resist the sword being stabbed in him by the sage. And when he comes out of the castle rubble in Ocarina of Time, he's just like, he has extreme defensive capabilities, and he is incredibly resilient, and he can get hit a lot of times and not die. And it's like, So what? That's not the Triforce.
Also, you know how many bosses do that?
Yeah.
Like, through the whole game, that's every boss.
Yeah.
The thing is,
Whew, my
he
throat.
probably just knows how to use heart containers like Link does. I think that's probably one of the things that the Triforce does, is it lets you use heart containers.
Yeah.
Not unlikely. But, and then he was going on, he was talking about how the Triforce of Wisdom gave you,
Wisdom.
no, he didn't say wisdom, he said magic power, extreme magical ability, and it's like, that's what it looks like it does, but in reality, Zelda's just the magic princess.
Yeah.
Even when she doesn't have the Triforce, she's the magic princess.
That's it. She's the magic princess with the Triforce of Wisdom. And, like, this stuff doesn't even... Okay, so it seems like everyone thinks that the Triforce gives them this power, and it probably does. Like, I don't know. But in Ocarina of
it
Time...
probably amplifies them, if nothing
Yeah,
else.
yeah. But it says that when Ganondorf touched it, because he was corrupt, it shattered and went to the people who embodied those aspects of the Triforce. It didn't give them the embodiment of that part of the Triforce. It went to them because they already had it.
So,
Their magic and resilience might be amplified by it, but they already had it.
if Zelda is the wisest person in Hyrule in that game, they screw.
Yeah. Which is why they need a hero.
Well,
Yeah. So I'm not like saying Zelda's stupid. I'm not saying
She's just
dumb.
frustrating in that one.
Because
Well-
she's okay. Go ahead and talk, Avery.
I was just saying, the Triforce of Wisdom is blood bonded to the female areas of Hyrule.
Yeah.
So she cheats.
Yeah, she does. But so, in that one, in Ocarina of Time, at the end, Zelda's like, "I'm the seventh sage," and it's like,
No, you're not.
There was never a seventh sage. There were only 6. There's never been a seventh sage.
Where's your medallion then?
Yeah, where the heck is your medallion? And also, in the Chamber of Sages, there is no place for you. Absolutely no place.
And they can't be the one who helps from the shadows because there is there is literally a Sage of Shadows who helps from the shadows.
Yeah. So,
It's
some
silly.
of you who have played the game might be like, well, there's that spot in the middle where the Triforce is. And
for
it's
the
like,
hero to stand in.
yeah, that spot is for the Hero of Time. So in the game, I'm not even like,
Not theory.
not theory. This is
paraphrase.
from the game. This is canon. That the Hero of Time isn't the person that can travel through time. The Hero of Time is the
Alright,
person that can use the Master Sword to combine their power with the sages. So they need a place in the Chamber of Sages, otherwise they can't utilize their power fully. So that place in the middle with the Triforce on it, that is for the Hero of Time, not the 7th Sage.
Who doesn't exist.
There is no 7th Sage. It just doesn't make sense. And we went over this with the Zelda is not Hylia point. Zelda, well, sort of, but
I
Zelda
think we touched on it.
in quite a few of the games, she tries to be special.
More special than Magic Princess with the Triforce of Wisdom.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, be happy with that. That's awesome.
Yeah, she is a really cool... That's one of the reasons why the Twilight Princess Zelda is so great, because she is okay with that. She's like, I'm this magic princess of Hyrule, I can do this, this, and this, and
Craft light arrows?
I accidentally screwed over my kingdom,
So
but-
let's...
so let's go fix it.
Well, she
it-
didn't really screw it up. She just...
There wasn't really anything she could do, but
Because,
Midna-
again, Hyrule's army sucks.
Yeah. But Midna gave her crap for it at the beginning
I don't
of the game.
understand why everyone likes Midna so much. They're like, oh, Navi was so annoying, and oh, Midna was such a great character. She's so snarky and mean and rude and nasty to everyone.
I think what it is that Midna progresses.
They just like tsundere girls.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. But Midna progresses. Well, she doesn't actually progress. She seems like she is. She just seems to. But in reality, she's just opening up to Link. She doesn't progress as a character at all. Well, other than opening up.
She's driven less by revenge through the game.
And more.
She does change a little, but mostly she just gets more
like
polite.
Tara. And then Navi.
Doesn't really change much.
She doesn't change at all because she's never really given a character, but she is shown to be this very
Clever.
She's very clever. She's kind of sarcastic. She's very what's the word I want to use?
Tactical.
Yeah.
She knows how to do things.
She's very loyal. Like in the final boss, she tries very hard to get close to Ganondorf, but his power is too strong for her to get anything on him or even get close. But then in the final fight with Ganon, she's like, there's no way I am not helping you with this, and she pushes through, even though she is probably in extreme pain that entire time.
A lot of time people just look at what happens where they want to see what happens, and they filter what they want to see.
Yeah.
And they decide something and find evidence to that thing and ignore everything else. And I'm sure I do that too, but it's still
I know
annoying.
I do that, especially with the Ganondorf points.
Well, there's the thing is, this timeline is silly.
Yeah. This timeline is...
It's
Ugh.
not quite there. Because if they fill in between some games, it might get to where it makes sense.
Like the second hero of Ocarina of Time and the second hero of the Child Era.
And
Between Hero of Time and Hero of Twilight. Those are probably... Those are the two that stick out to me the most. I haven't gone into depth too much in the adult timeline, and I haven't gotten to play a lot of the Kingdom Falls timeline. So, excuse me. So I don't know about those ones, but in the child timeline, at least, there are a lot of holes that they just need to fill in.
Yeah, and back before, in between Skyward Sword and Minish Cap, there's a lot.
Yeah.
That's another place that's possibly where Breath of the Wild is at, because the Sheikah monks swear loyalty to and do the tasks of Hylia, a being that has disappeared from Zelda lore immediately after Skyward Sword. Just completely, she's not there at all.
So it wouldn't make sense for her to pop up again at the very end or anywhere in there. It just doesn't make sense for her to be in there. But and then so this is, we had an order, but it's a point we forgot to mention. Or actually, well, so Ganondorf is a hero. We've covered that one pretty in depth.
I'm sure there's other things we had, but I can't think of right now.
Yeah. So
we should probably move on.
Yeah, so we're gonna go to the... So this is almost 35 minutes, so we're gonna head on over to part 2.
End of part 1.